Before you close your eyes tonight, there's something you ought to know. These mountains, they keep secrets. Inbred bloodlines, forgotten abuse, families swallowed by silence.
He stands naked on the box, breath fogging in the cold studio air, while the doctor's steel calipers kiss his skin. 24 years old, Jacob Lapp from Lancaster County. Shoulders broad as barn doors, ribs showing every time he inhales. The flash powder pops. Magnesium light flares white across cheekbones sharp enough to cut bread. Dr. Crowell's voice is soft, almost tender. Hold still, my boy. Perfection trembles at impatience. They all tremble, these 43. One by one they step onto that box, men and women alike, while Crowell measures, photographs, listens to their hearts with a stethoscope cold as judgment. The chosen leave the studio clutching train tickets and a promise. Land, a house, a future carved clean of the world's taint. The train south is loud with their laughter. Newlyweds who have never met, already planning children with eyes the color of glacier water. At Brandywine Station, the air smells of pine and distant wood smoke. Wagons wait under a sky so wide it feels like God himself is watching the experiment begin. Night falls hard in the clearing. Lanterns swing from fresh-cut beams. The men raise the first rafters of what will be the schoolhouse. The women unpack crates of bone china marked with a single Greek epsilon. Someone starts singing a hymn in German, low and sweet. Jacob finds himself beside a girl named Astrid Lindquist, hair the color of winter wheat, wrists delicate as frost. She offers him a tin cup of cider pressed from apples not yet planted. Their fingers touch. Neither pulls away. Across the fire, Dr. Crowell watches with the satisfaction of a man who has just closed the gate on paradise. The colonists lift their cups higher. To the chosen, they cry, voices braided together, certain they are the first generation of a new world. The camera, if this were film, would rise now, slow and reverent, over their bright faces, over the dark tree line, over 200 acres of sleeping earth that has no idea what has just been invited in. Far below, in the half-finished vault, Crowell sets the lantern on a crate and opens the ledger. Ink gleams wet on the page. Day 1, he writes, the pen scratching like a small, obedient animal. Eden has its walls. He smiles, closes the book, and for one heartbeat, the lantern flame gutters, as though something on the other side of the door has just leaned close to listen. The first baby cried on a February morning so bright the snow turned blue. Astrid Lindquist laughed through her tears while Lucas cut the cord with a knife he'd forged himself. And Dr. Crowell pressed a crisp $50 note into the new mother's palm like a communion wafer. By spring, 3 more arrived. By autumn, 7. The colony rang with lullabies in 4 languages, all of them proud. Years blur into gold, barefoot children racing between apple saplings that grow almost as fast as they do, report cards pinned to the schoolhouse wall, every child reading by 4, reciting Latin declensions by 6. Crowell rides the train to Baltimore twice a month. Lantern slides clacking as he shows photographs of flawless infants to silk waistcoated men who nod and murmur remarkable vigor. In Washington drawing rooms, ladies fan themselves and whisper that Eudora must be what heaven looks like before sin. Lucas and Astrid's brood are the worst offenders at being beautiful. Little Elias, born 1895, has his father's height already at 8. Clara, born 1897, hair so fair it hurts to look at in sunlight. Across the orchard, Caleb and Maeve Reardon's children burn like bonfires. Finn with freckles like cinnamon on cream, Bridget who sings before she speaks. Other parents measure their own babies against these 4 and feel for the first time the cold finger of envy. At night, the schoolhouse windows glow. Crowell reads aloud from Galton, voice rolling like distant thunder. What nature does blindly, slowly, and ruthlessly, man may do providently, quickly, and kindly. The children fall asleep believing they are the proof. Then comes the afternoon in late summer, 1903. 6-year-old Elias Lindquist, the eldest, the pride, stands alone in the school cloakroom, staring into the small mirror hung for the girls to pin their braids. The other children have gone outside to chase grasshoppers. Elias does not move. His reflection blinks a fraction too late. He leans closer, breath fogging the glass. "There's someone behind my face," he whispers, not to his mother, not to the teacher, to the mirror itself. The glass shows nothing but Elias, perfect skin, glacier eyes, a mouth that has never tasted illness. Yet his small hands rise and press against the surface as if something inside is pressing back. For one heartbeat, the room feels too small, the air too thick. Outside, the other children laugh. Inside, Elias keeps whispering, voice soft as a moth against the pane, "Let me out." The schoolhouse no longer smells of chalk and apples. It smells of ink, candle smoke, and fear. They filed in at 19. The children who once raced barefoot through orchards, now dressed in Sunday best, hearts hammering like trapped birds. The scoring room is the old cloakroom, repainted white, a single long table lit by one green banker's lamp. Dr. Crowells sits at the head, spectacles flashing, flanked by 2 silent elders holding the master ledger. On the wall hangs a new chart. Every name, every measurement taken at birth, at 10, at 15, height, skull index, lung capacity, reaction time. Beside each name, a column marked compatibility. Naomi Reardon's turn comes just after supper. She has her mother Maeve's red hair and her father Caleb's reckless green eyes. The elders slide the card across the table like a death sentence. Naomi Reardon plus Elias Crowell, Jr. Compatibility score 97.4. Directive: marry Michaelmas 1912. Conceive within 1 year. Elias Crowell, Jr. waits outside on the porch steps, tall and thin, his father's pale stare already in his face. He tries to take her hand. She lets him hold it for exactly 3 seconds, then pulls away. 3 nights later, she slips out past curfew to the stables. Jonah, The deaf stable hand hired from the outside is currying a mare under lantern light. His bare back is mapped with scars from a childhood accident that took his hearing and almost took his life. When he turns, the lantern catches the curve of his mouth, smiling only for her. He doesn't speak. He signs against her palm, slow and deliberate. You are shaking. She kisses him because words belong to Crowell now, and kisses are still hers. They move together in the hayloft, urgent, terrified, tasting freedom that lasts only as long as moonlight through the chinks. Weeks blur. Elias Jr. courts her with pressed flowers and stiff poetry. Jonah courts her with silence and the warmth of horses breathing around them. One October morning she wakes vomiting behind the smokehouse. Her monthly blood is 3 weeks late. She stands in the cold, hand pressed to her belly, counting backwards in panic. Michaelmas was 6 weeks ago, the hayloft 4. She does not know whose child quickens inside her. In the distance, the school bell rings once, though classes haven't started yet. Naomi closes her eyes and feels the walls of Eden tighten like a measuring tape around her ribs.
June 1917 arrives, humid and merciless. The wheat is high, the air thick with triggers and thunder that never quite breaks. Then the crying stops. First, little Miriam Yoder, born at dawn on the 3rd, never makes a sound. Her mother swears she screamed once in the womb and then decided against the world. Then the Lapp twins, 2 days later, pink and perfect, eyes wide open, lungs strong enough to drown a man, yet not whimper. 3 deaf babies in 21 days. The colony has never known silence this complete. Panic moves faster than gossip. Mothers press ears to cradles, terrified of what they don't hear. Fathers stand in the lane arguing in whispers that feel like shouting. Dr. Crowell's assistant, young Dr. Mercer, pores over pedigrees until the candles gutter. He finds it at 3 a.m. Both sets of grandparents on one branch carried the same hidden flaw, a recessive whisper that needed only the closed circle of Eudora to roar. The meeting is held in the schoolyard at dusk. Torches hiss in the heat. Caleb Reardon, now gray at the temples, speaks first. We were promised perfection, not prison. My granddaughter deserves a world bigger than this valley. Others shout agreement. Hands clutch skirts and suspenders like lifelines. Crowell steps onto the school porch, older now, veins like blue twine under paper skin. His voice still carries that terrible calm. Leave, and you crawl back into the sewer of mongrel blood. Here your children are gods. Out there they will be freaks. He smiles at the cradles lined up like evidence. These silent ones are not broken. They are refined. The world is too loud for their purity. The argument splinters into the night. No one dares leave before dawn. Next morning, the older children are marched out for lessons. The toddlers, 29 of them, some hearing, most not, sit in perfect rows on the grass, hands folded, faces turned toward the orchard. The teacher claps for attention. Nothing. She claps again. Then it happens. Every small head turns at once, slow and synchronized, toward the empty air above the apple trees, eyes wide, lips parted. They are listening to something the adults cannot hear, something that makes the deaf ones smile and the hearing ones press palms over their ears as if to keep it out. A single crow lands on the school roof and will not stop screaming.
By 1920, the children tower. They unfold like pale corn, knees and elbows sharp as fence wire. At 14, Naomi's boy, officially Elias Crowell III, whispered Jonah by his mother, stands 6'2" in bare feet and is still growing. His wrists look stolen from a larger creature. The skin stretches thin and blue over bones that sing when the weather changes. They break so easily now. A girl hops off the porch to fetch the mail. Snap! Femur like green kindling. A boy leaps for a peach. Crack! Both tibias blooming white through the skin. The infirmary, once a joke, never empties. Crowell walks the rows of splints and plaster, murmuring benediction. Fragility is the price of refinement. Thoroughbreds do not plow fields. They try basketball anyway, because the young always believe they are immortal. The court is packed dirt behind the schoolhouse. The ball rises, a brown planet against July sky. 3 boys go up together, beautiful, elongated, impossible. They come down wrong. The sound is wet wood splitting. Screams chase dragonflies across the orchard. Crowell watches from the shade, nodding as if the fractures are data points confirming a theory. At night, Naomi's son wanders. She finds him in the kitchen at midnight, 7 years old and already taller than the door frame, eyes milky, unfocused. He holds the lantern, though every lamp in the house is lit. "I have to go where they're calling," he says, voice too adult, vowels stretched like taffy. She follows at a distance, heart hammering. He walks straight into the forest, lantern swinging, bare feet silent on the pine needles. The trees close behind him. Hours pass. Owls quit calling. Just before dawn, he steps back into the clearing, lantern cold, soot on his cheeks like war paint. Naomi grabs his shoulders. "Who were you with?" He looks at her with those drifting eyes and signs, fingers moving swift and certain in a language no hearing child in Eudora has ever been taught. Perfect, fluid signs that spell clear as frost on glass. The quiet ones are waiting under the orchard. They want their bodies back. They know which ones are borrowed. The summer of 1925 tastes like iron. It begins on a Tuesday. Samuel Lapp, 22, gentle giant who shoes horses and sings hymns while he works, walks into the kitchen where his mother is shelling peas. Without a word, he lifts the cleaver from the block and brings it down 3 times. The blade stops only when his brothers drag him off. Samuel blinks, looks at the blood on his apron, and collapses, sobbing, "Why is Mama sleeping on the floor?" He remembers nothing. By August, there are 6 more. A girl drowns her cat in the rain barrel, then cradles the body like a baby. A boy bites through his own lip when someone bumps his shoulder. The episodes come without warning and leave no memory, only wreckage. The elders meet at dusk and decide. After sundown, no one walks alone. Root cellars are fitted with iron rings and chains. Families draw lots each night for who will be locked away for their own safety. Crowell, face half eaten by the French disease he refuses to name, shuffles among them, smelling of camphor and rot. He touches the chained wrists with trembling fingers and smiles. Spiritual growing pains, he croaks. The blood is purifying itself. These are the death throes of the animal in us. No one believes him anymore, but no one dares say it aloud. Naomi has not slept in 3 nights. Her son, now 12, nearly 7 feet tall, bones creaking like old floorboards, has begun humming in his sleep, a low drone that makes the dogs whine. She follows the sound at twilight and finds him in the orchard. He stands over a buck, antlers still velvet, chest opened in one clean stroke. Entrails steam in the cooling air. The boy's hands are red to the elbow. He lifts a dripping heart the way another child might hold an apple, turns it, admiring. Naomi's voice cracks. "Elias, what have you done?" He looks at her, really looks at her for the first time in months. His smile is soft, almost loving, and utterly wrong. "He fixed it, Mama," he says, voice layered, as though several children speak at once. It was noisy inside. Now it's quiet. Behind him the apple trees rustle, though there is no wind. Pale faces, too tall, too short, too still, watch from the shadows between the trunks. The heart in his hands beats once more, then stops. The orchard has gone wild. Apples small and sour, branches clawing at the sky like accusations. No wedding bells have rung in 18 months. The young people meet after curfew among the gnarled trees, speaking in whispers the taste of rot and freedom. "We burn the vault," Thin Reardon says, voice shaking with rage and hope. "The ledgers go up, the scores die, and we walk out before winter." 20 heads nod in moonlight. Naomi, gray now, presses a hand to her mouth to keep from sobbing yes. They plan for the new moon, kerosene from the blacksmith shed, matches hidden in a hymn book. Someone will lure the night watchman with a faked seizure. At the first scent of smoke, the rest will scatter south along the Patuxent. Crowell knows. He always knows. The well tastes metallic for 3 days straight. Morning coffee turns limbs to syrup. Children nap in the middle of chores. The young rebels fight the fog, but their feet drag like they're walking through warm tar.
Crowell limps among them, smiling his soft ruined smile. For everyone's safety, he croaks. Rest now, clarity will come. One October night, Ruth Crowell, 15 years old, 38 inches tall, legs bowed like a wishbone, slips from her attic room. The sedatives barely touch her. The dose was measured for taller blood. She pads barefoot down the back stairs, past the ticking grandfather clock, to the study door left ajar. Inside, Crowell speaks to the fire. His voice is paper tearing. The stock has spoiled. Too much sentiment, not enough will. We may need a cleansing generation. A pause. The flames pop like tiny bones. Start again with the purest 10. The rest, the river is deep. Ruth stands frozen in the doorway's shadow. Her grandfather's reflection in the window is all skull and hunger. He lifts a photograph, her own face at age 5, marked with red wax, defective, and feeds it to the fire. Behind her, the house breathes sedative sleep. Outside, the orchard waits, patient and poisonous, for children who will never be born.
October 1929. Ruth Crowell is 17, 4'1", and heavy with the child no one wanted her to have. They forced the marriage anyway, some cousin whose name she never learned, because the ledger still demanded numbers. The baby came early, blue-eyed, perfect height-weight ratio, and utterly wrong. She knows it the first time he nurses. His tiny fingers dig into her breast like claws, and his gaze locks past her, through her, into somewhere she can't follow. At night he never cries. He hums the same 3 notes the deaf children used 20 years ago. On the 3rd morning, she carries the splitting maul from the woodshed. The house is empty. Everyone is harvesting the last rotten apples. Ruth lays her son on the kitchen table, kisses his forehead once, soft as forgiveness, then swings. The sound is wet and final. Blood spatters the wall like thrown paint. She keeps swinging until the humming stops. They try her in the schoolhouse that afternoon, the same room where she learned to read with her fingertips. Ruth stands on a crate so the elders can see her. Her hands fly in frantic signs no one bothered to learn properly. Wrong inside. Bell underground. He was borrowed. I gave him back. Crowell watches from the back row, face caved in by disease and triumph. When she is done, he simply nods. 2 men wrap her in a blanket like a broken doll and carry her to the wagon bound for Baltimore. The asylum will keep her quiet. That night, the colony sleeps uneasily, tasting guilt and relief. Wind rattles the loose shutters. At 3:14 a.m., the school bell rings. One clear, perfect note, though the rope was cut and burned in 1919. Everyone hears it. Doors creak open. Lanterns bloom across the clearing. Figures stumble toward the schoolhouse in nightgowns and bare feet. The bell rings again. Deeper this time, a sound felt in teeth and marrow. Inside the cupola, the rusted bell swings alone. No rope, no wind strong enough, just the slow, deliberate arc
of something pulling from below. Ruth is already 50 miles away, locked in a padded room, rocking and signing to the empty air. They're coming up now. They're almost tall enough.
Winter 1932. The colony is a mouthful of broken teeth. Roofs cave under snow. The orchards are strangled with kudzu. Every week another family slips away at dawn. Wagon wheels muffled in rags. Children drugged so they won't cry. They leave doors open, fires dead, plates on the table like a meal interrupted by the rapture. Only the mad and the faithful remain. 23 souls, gaunt as scarecrows, still measuring each other's skulls by candlelight. In the vault, Dr. Crowell no longer walks upright. He crawls between stacks of ledgers, pages yellow as old bone, syphilis blooming black flowers across his vision. Galton stands in the corner, immaculate in Victorian wool, clapping slowly. Burn it all, Elias. Burn the evidence. Perfection must remain a rumor. Crowell obeys. He feeds the fire crate after crate, birth weights, cranial indices, the meticulous record of every coupling. The flames paint his ruined face the color of fresh meat. He laughs until he coughs blood, then laughs again because the blood is pure, finally pure. Outside, the last wagon leaves. Naomi is on it, clutching her giant son's hand. He is 16 now, nearly 8 feet tall, bones cracking like ice on the river. He turns once, looks back at the schoolhouse, and signs with fingers too long to be human. He's coming with us anyway. Night of March 3rd, 1933. The temperature drops hard. Crowell staggers from the smoking vault, clutching a burlap sack. Inside, every galvanic battery he ever built, wires trailing like copper veins. He wades into the Patuxent where the ice is thin and black. Water bites his legs, but he keeps going, deeper, pockets clanking, whispering the same phrase over and over, like a prayer or a curse. Conductivity is godliness. Conductivity is godliness. The current takes his hat first, then his spectacles. He lifts the sack high, as if offering it to the moon, and lets the river fold over him. Bubbles rise. 1, 2, 3. Then nothing. On the bank, the schoolhouse windows glow orange one final time as the vault fire finds the dynamite he swore he'd never store. The explosion is soft, almost polite, a sigh after 42 years of holding breath. Ash drifts across the water like gray snow, settling on the place where Crowell went down. Under the ice, something tall and jointed watches it fall, waiting for spring.
June 2025. The live stream title is simple. One night in Crowell's Folly, we won't chicken out. 11,437 viewers and climbing. 5 seniors from Brandywine High set up in the old schoolyard, ring light glowing against kudzu. Jess narrates in a whisper shout for the algorithm. Chat, if we hit 50K viewers, we're drinking the well water. Do it, cowards! They laugh too loud. The woods do not laugh back. Hour 1. Jump scares, beer cans, the usual. Hour 2. The temperature tanks 30 degrees in 8 minutes. Breath fogs. Phone batteries plummet from 98 to 12% with no signal drop. Someone's mic picks up whispering. Fast, fluid sign language spelled aloud by a voice that isn't any of theirs. Hour 3. The tree line moves. Figures, some 8 feet tall, heads brushing branches that haven't been there since 1933. Others, child small, heads too large, standing perfectly still. Every time the camera swings toward them, they're gone. Jess zooms on the old well, boards rotted, warning tape long shredded. Chat says it's only knee-deep. Bet. Midnight. Tyler, the quiet one, stands up like a puppet on new strings. His eyes are wide, pupils blown. Someone down there knows my real name, he says, voice calm, almost relieved. He walks straight to the well, steps over the boards that should collapse but don't. The others scream his name. He never looks back. The GoPro on his chest keeps streaming. He descends. 1 step, 2. The boards hold. Darkness swallows him to the waist, then the chest. Last thing he says, soft, almost happy. I remember now. The camera tilts, tumbles, hits water with a flat slap. For 3 full seconds the lens is underwater, autofocus hunting. Something looks up. Pale, elongated, neck too long, mouth too wide, eyes black and depthless. 6 fingers spread in a slow, deliberate wave. Not hello, but welcome home. The feed fractures into static. 112,000 viewers watch the screen go black. Somewhere far off, carried on night air thick as syrup, a single school bell rings once. Clear, patient, final. The chat explodes, then freezes. No one refreshes, no one breathes. They all know, without being told, that the bell wasn't for Tyler. It was for them.